Savage Sports fan, please like, share, subscribe. New subscribers, thanks for the love and support. Drop a comment, hit the bell notification, share a video. Listen, let's get right into it. Remember, it's been almost 10 years since Nick Young and Iggy Azalea broke up. If you don't know, Nick Young had Iggy Azalea very young. Iggy was still Iggy, but she wasn't Iggy who she is now. But 10 years ago, Nick Young was engaged to Iggy Azalea. Yeah, that Iggy Azalea. Yeah, Iggy Azalea that is earning, like, the last time I checked, she said she was making $9 million a month on OF. It's been, that was in 2004. Iggy was saying she's earning about $9 million a month. Now, I think she might have got a bump after that was released. Her salary might have went up to $12 million, $13 million a month. Now, we in a different economy 2 years later. It could be $20 million, it could be down to $5 million, but $4 million. But I can guarantee you she's still clearing over a couple $1,000,000 a month being Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea is earning more money than a lot of NBA players, as well as a lot of sports athletes. UFC, even some boxers, tennis players. I think Iggy Azalea with a $6 million a month salary, that's better than a lot of baseball players. Let's keep it real. It's a shock to me. I know at one point she was kind of seeing a few NBA players on the side. I'm not going to say no names. It was some flirting back and forth. I don't really want to get into a dating life like that. The last time I checked, she was with some streamer. That could just be for the internet. But Iggy is a powerhouse of money making. If you're talking about NBA girlfriend on steroids, it would be Iggy Azalea. I mean, I know Savannah James has LeBron James in that house every day, and she does not have to be the breadwinner in no situation. But if you had the rank, and oh, by the way, Savannah James is an NBA wife, not an NBA girlfriend. But if Iggy Azalea was in the NBA power ranking of girlfriends, she would be number one as far as earning power. Maybe Ayesha Curry with her brand. I don't know if Ayesha Curry was, making, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million, 12 million a month like Iggy, and we'll say the word allegedly. But, what kind of business is he running? Iggy is the business. Just like Martha Stewart was the business. I could say Sonny and Cher, but Sonny and Cher, or the Osbournes, with Donnie and Marie back in the day, but they sang and stuff. But Iggy is the business. That backside is the business. I'm pretty sure she got some insurance on that. So Iggy showing up, I don't care if you agree with her rapping style, she could rap or not rap. She rapped herself into over $9 million a month as a business. And she's not even born in the United States. She's from Australia. Now, I remember Iggy when she first came in and she came on the scene. She was actually signed to T.I. T.I. was the one who actually brought out Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea had a lot of down south music. They ended up, she was on Grand Hustle. I mean, they did a part in the Waves many, many, many years ago. But I just wanted to say NBA girlfriend status, if she was an NBA girlfriend, Iggy is pulling in some paper. Even in a bad economy. This is crazy right here. This crazy work. I know she's got a baby with Playboy Cardi. She doesn't really speak on that situation. But I don't think Playboy Cardi on his best day had any $9 million a month type of situations. This was let you brothers know that time flies by quickly. 10 years ago. Within those 10 years, she had quite a few relationships, but none of them are pulling out paper like this. Now, the opportunities with technology are different than now versus 2016 when she was with Nick Young. We are aware of that. OF was probably more than like not even thought about at that particular time. Maybe in that time of the world, the country as a whole probably would have looked down at women a little bit differently. But that's neither here nor there. We in current times. Iggy Azalea is making way more money than a lot of sports figures, and the sports world ain't talking about it. She's not the only one. She's not the only one at all. It's plenty of OF models that go around these games and stadiums and things like that. Some you recognize, a lot of them you don't. She's just the one who just was a little bit more forthcoming with her finances. So shout out to her and things like that. But what is Nick Young thinking? Shout out to Nick Young on the Gills Arena and stuff like that. Nick Young still doing his thing out there, but Nick Young gotta be looking, man, this girl pulling down how much? This is the one allegedly Nick Young was cheating on, and D'Angelo Russell was on the Lakers, and he kind of outed Nick Young about cheating and stuff like that, and that kind of broke up that engagement. I'll say allegedly. It was a big locker room fight and stuff like that. But if that never happened and Nick Young married, I mean, I'm just speculating. I think Nick Young's a married man right now, I believe. But if Nick Young, I don't know, I don't want to go that wild. If Nick Young was doing OF, or would he allow his wife to do that? You know, I don't know. She'll be a married woman. She may not consider it, but I don't know. In today's world, Iggy Azalea is that chick. Iggy Azalea is number one on the power ranking of NBA girlfriends if she's available on the market, because her dating situation is not all out in public, because when she's holding hands and walking down stadiums and stuff like that, or outside of being with that streamer dude, you know, she would be top tier on the list. But would a lot of NBA good guys be cool with it? I think the younger guys might be cool with it. The younger guys might be cool with it because, you know, she's such a big figure. But the old heads, the veterans and stuff like that, they're like, I don't know about that. Plus, she's making all that money. They might feel like she can't be, you know, she might not take them seriously. She may not, you know, it'd be too hard for her to control her, you know, her situation. So, but you never know. How can you turn down Iggy down? But I would think a lot of the younger cats will really be super interested in seeing, especially for that $9 million a month. If she's still at that point, I think honestly, it might have tailed off a little bit. I would guesstimate that she'll probably be in the ballpark anywhere between $4 million a month to maybe $7 million a month, $6 million a month, probably fluctuate here and there. But nevertheless, that's still well over $30 million a year. That's still over, man. She's still clearing like, whew. She even doing that, she's doing 40, 50 million a year just being Iggy Azalea. Just showing up doing random photo shoots for all her fans. I mean, this is bananas. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? You talking about the guys, oh my God, the girlfriends. Shout out to everybody. Drop that comment. Would you date Iggy Azalea? Would she date you? That's the question. Would Iggy Azalea date any of these dudes? That would be a question. But if you had the opportunity to be with Iggy and, you know, you go out on a date with her, I don't even think she would even do a date or just hang out with her. You could go hang out with Iggy. I think she's to the point where she might even not even look at dating the way we look at dating. But if you could go hang out with Iggy, like, all right, you're hanging out with Iggy for the day. What's that? What's the vibe like with that? That'd be kind of crazy. You gotta be thinking in the back of your mind, man, this chick got over $90 million. What am I gonna do, man? What kind of prenup is gonna be involved in this? You know, what kind of physicals need to be taken to touch her? You gotta wash her hands like 10 times to just, you know, hold her hand. You know, it'd be crazy out here in these streets. So drop that comment. You know, if you had a chance, even if you're not in the NBA, you in the sports world, you know, period, baseball players make some crazy cake like that. I think they're the only ones. Now with the new NBA collective bargaining agreement, I disagree. Yeah, they have the big crazy contracts. The younger generation has the 200, 300, 400 million, the $500 million contracts. At first they didn't have that like 10 years ago. But now, yeah, it's about it's going down like that. But you know, shout out to everybody, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to new subscribers. Drop that comment. Let me know. If you can hang out with Iggy Azalea, where would you take her? What would you say? Would you bring the money up? Would you bring the money up? Would you crack a sly joke up in there? You know, if the vibe is right, but you know, would you, you know, you couldn't take her. I don't know. Cheesecake Factory. But at that level, I don't think she probably would be looking for anything crazy like that. I think she would just make sure the vibe is right, because she had a situation in Atlanta with a lot of the Atlanta dudes. And I think she kind of learned her way around. Like, I don't know. She learned from a lot of young mistakes. So, making that kind of money, she's gonna be super, super, super protective about a lot of stuff. So, at the end of the day, Iggy Azalea is making more money than the average NBA player and a lot of people in the sports world, and they ain't talking about it. And she was once an NBA girlfriend. Yes, she was. She was one of the biggest and best NBA girlfriends out there. Here it is 10 years later. Who's making more now? Ooh, who's making more money now? Shout out to Nick Young. Shout out to everybody that, hung out with that afterwards. But I just thought I would just bring that out to your attention that she's got to go down in the power ranking number 1 right now of NBA girlfriends, But anyway, Savage Sports fan, like, share, subscribe, drop that comment, hit that bell notification. Until next time, I'm out.